To understand the final fate of the 12 apostles, we delve into records of the early church, patristic writings, and chronicles of ancient historians. Some facts are clear, coming from the 1st to 4th centuries, while others should be viewed as apocryphal traditions or later legends. In this story, we explore the heroic testimony of each apostle, where and how they died, why they became victims of their own faith, and what is established tradition or mere speculation. Get ready for a journey across regions, centuries, and the heart of early Christian courage. Before we embark on this journey through the paths of the apostles, take a moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. That way, you'll be notified whenever new content like this is published. And if you believe more people should know these stories, leave your like. It really helps this video reach others who are interested in topics like this. Now, let's begin. Chapter 1. The Apostle Peter was born in Bethsaida, Galilee, and was a fisherman in Capernaum, the brother of the Apostle Andrew. Originally called Simon, he was given the name Peter, Rock, by Jesus, and became the leader of the 12, known for his impetuous personality and resolute faith. Among the apostles, Peter stood out as the spokesperson of the group and a privileged witness. He was present at the Transfiguration and other key moments. After the resurrection of Christ, Peter assumed a central role in the first Christian community in Jerusalem and also preached outside Judea. Ancient sources report that he founded the church in Antioch and later traveled to Rome, where he led the local church for 25 years as bishop of the empire's capital. According to tradition, Peter ended his earthly mission as a martyr in Rome. During the persecution under Emperor Nero circa 64 AD, Peter was condemned to crucifixion, but asked to be crucified upside down, considering himself unworthy to die in the same manner as Jesus. Origen recorded this request and his inverted execution. Tertullian and other church fathers also confirm that Peter was martyred in Rome under Nero. Peter's martyrdom became a unanimous tradition in the early church, reinforced by archaeological evidence such as the probable discovery of his tomb beneath St. Peter's Basilica. Although the New Testament does not recount his death, the broad agreement of patristic sources makes this tradition well established and accepted by historians. Details such as the inverted position on the cross come mainly from traditional accounts and should be understood as part of Christian pious memory, but the basic fact of his martyrdom in Rome is considered a firm historical fact. Chapter 2. The Apostle Andrew, brother of Peter, was also born in Bethsaida of Galilee and worked as a fisherman on the Sea of Galilee. He was one of the first disciples called by Jesus and played an important role in introducing others to the Messiah, such as Nathanael. Discreet and zealous, Andrew is remembered for his missionary enthusiasm. After the resurrection, he undertook long missionary journeys. Eusebius, quoting Origen, states that Andrew preached in Asia Minor, along the Black Sea, and even into the steppes of Scythia, possibly reaching the areas of the Volga River and Kiev. He is venerated in places like Russia and Romania and considered the symbolic founder of the See of Byzantium in 38 AD. Andrew was executed in Patras in the Roman province of Achaia, Greece, around 60 AD. The Acts of Andrew, apocryphal writings, report that he was tied to a cross to prolong his suffering. Over time, the account developed that this cross was shaped like an X, decusat cross, requested out of humility, so as not to die in the same way as Jesus. Although early texts mention only a Latin cross, the X-shaped version became widespread in the Middle Ages. Patristic sources confirm his martyrdom, though without such details. His death in Achaia remains a well-established tradition. In any case, Andrew preached until his last breath. Before we continue to the next chapter, subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video. It really helps us a lot. Chapter 3. The Apostle James, called the Greater, perhaps because he was older or taller, was the son of Zebedee and Salome, and brother of John. A fisherman from Galilee, he was one of the first to follow Jesus. Alongside John and Peter, he witnessed the transfiguration and Jesus' agony in Gethsemane. Jesus nicknamed James and John Boanerges, sons of thunder, alluding to their zealous nature. After the resurrection, James actively preached in Jerusalem and, according to medieval tradition, traveled to Hispania, Spain, Portugal. During that journey, he is said to have been in Zaragoza and received a miraculous apparition of Mary. After this period, he returned to Judea. James the Greater was the first of the 12 to shed his blood for the name of Jesus. His death is the only one, besides that of Judas Iscariot, recorded in the New Testament. Around 44 AD, King Herod Agrippa Farm ordered his arrest and execution in Jerusalem. Herod had James, the brother of John, put to death with the sword, Acts 12:1-2. This early martyrdom made him the protomartyr among the apostles. A legend arose that his body was secretly taken to Galicia, and in 814 relics were discovered in Compostela, giving rise to the Camino de Santiago pilgrimage. Historically, there is a clear distinction between his biblically attested martyrdom in Jerusalem and the later legendary traditions. Nonetheless, his figure remains central to the evangelization story. Chapter 4. The Apostle John, son of Zebedee and brother of James the Greater, was a Galilean fisherman and became a beloved disciple of Jesus. Nicknamed the Beloved Disciple, he was at the foot of the cross, where Jesus entrusted him with the care of Mary. After the resurrection, he became one of the pillars of the early church in Jerusalem, participated in the council, and later moved to Ephesus, taking Mary with him. From there, he oversaw Christian communities, wrote his gospel, 3 epistles, and the book of Revelation. Around 95 AD, during the persecution of Domitian, he was exiled to Patmos, where he is said to have received apocalyptic visions. Before this, he is said to have miraculously survived being thrown into a cauldron of boiling oil without harm. After Domitian's death, he was released and returned to Ephesus, living to an old age. He died of natural causes, nearly a centenarian, at the end of the 1st century under the reign of Trajan. Sources from the 2nd to 4th centuries confirm that he died and was buried there. John is the only one of the 12 who did not suffer a violent martyrdom, dying in peace after much suffering from persecutions. His faithfulness remains a testimony of perseverance until the end. Before we continue to the next chapter, subscribe to the channel and like the video. It helps us a lot. Chapter 5. The Apostle Philip, a native of Bethsaida like Peter and Andrew, was one of the 12 mentioned in the Gospels. In the Gospel of John, he appears introducing Nathanael and speaking with Jesus before the multiplication of the loaves. His name suggests interaction with Hellenistic culture. He served as a mediator with Greeks who wanted to meet Jesus in Jerusalem. After the ascension, he participated in the missionary expansion. Eusebius records that he preached in Greece, Syria, and especially in Phrygia, Asia Minor. There is mention that he was married and had devout daughters. Several traditions confuse him with Philip the Evangelist, but the Church distinguishes between them. He is said to have performed miracles, such as raising a dead person in Hierapolis. His ministry culminated there, where he faced pagan opposition and was martyred, possibly during the reign of Domitian, 81 to 96 AD. In the Acts of Philip, it is narrated that he endured crucifixion and stoning. One tradition says he was nailed upside down or to a tree and stoned. There are variations: crucified, stoned, or beheaded. By the 4th century, local veneration existed. Pilgrims visited his tomb. In 2011, archaeologists identified a tomb in Hierapolis attributed to Philip. His relics were said to have been brought centuries later to Rome. In summary, he was a zealous missionary who died for Christ in Hierapolis, though the exact method of execution varies among traditions. Chapter 6. The Apostle Bartholomew, possibly Nathanael from the Gospel of John, came from Cana of Galilee. His name means son of Ptolemy. Introduced by Philip, Jesus praised him as a true Israelite. He was a witness of the resurrection, appearing among the disciples on the shores of the Sea of Tiberias. After Pentecost, he carried out missions beyond Judea. Ancient traditions, especially from the Armenian Church, state that he first preached in India, then in Mesopotamia and Lesser Armenia, possibly reaching the Caucasus. While converting many, he also faced cultural challenges. The most widespread account says that in Armenia, he converted King Polemius and his court, provoking the anger of pagan priests. Bartholomew was arrested and flayed alive, with his head later decapitated. The date of his martyrdom is traditionally August 24th, likely in 51 AD. This story is of Armenian legendary origin, reflected in iconography that depicts him holding his own skin or a knife. There are no independent historical records, but the early church always upheld his martyrdom. His supposed relics were taken to Lipari and later to Rome. Bartholomew is remembered as an extreme witness of faith, even if specific details are considered legendary. Before we continue to the next chapter, subscribe to the channel and leave your like on the video. It helps us a lot. Chapter 7. The Apostle St. Thomas was called the Twin and had a reputation for sincerity and courage, combined with a questioning spirit. He is famous for doubting the resurrection until he touched Jesus' wounds, hence the name Doubting Thomas. He also showed boldness when he said, "Let us also go, that we may die with him." After Pentecost, he became a missionary, probably traveling farther than any of the 12. Apocryphal texts, Acts of Thomas, indicate that he ministered in Syria and Edessa, founding a Christian community there. From Edessa, he went to Babylon and then to India. The Christian communities of southern India, St. Thomas Christians, claim that he arrived in Muziris, Kerala, in 52 AD, preached and founded churches. There are legends suggesting he reached China, though these are unconfirmed. The central fact is that he spread the faith in the Indian subcontinent and was martyred there. The accepted tradition indicates that he died near Mylapore, modern-day Chennai, around 72 AD, attacked on St. Thomas Mount by pagan priests and pierced by lances. He died at the site where the Basilica of St. Thomas now stands. Martyrologies and Syriac hymns confirm this tradition. There is evidence of early Christians in India linked to his preaching. His relics were taken to Edessa and later to Ortona, Italy. The strong traditional consensus holds that he died a martyr in India, pierced through, making him a symbol of the missionary par excellence. Chapter 8. The Apostle Matthew was a publican, tax collector in Capernaum, likely educated in Aramaic and Roman administration. He was also called Levi, son of Alphaeus. He accepted Jesus' call and offered a banquet for him, demonstrating his conversion. Although he appears little beyond his calling in the Gospels, tradition attributes to him the Gospel according to Matthew, intended for Jewish Christians. After the resurrection, he preached in Judea. Eusebius and others indicate that he may have written his gospel in Aramaic before departing on mission. Ancient sources differ on his destinations: Cappadocia, Parthia, or Ethiopia, sometimes referring to regions south of Egypt or the Caspian Sea. The most widespread Western version says that he spent years in Ethiopia or southeastern Egypt, Sudan. His martyrdom is said to have occurred while celebrating Mass, stabbed by an assassin sent by a pagan king. Other versions speak of stoning, followed by beheading, either in Jerusalem or Ethiopia or Asia. The geographical uncertainty indicates obscurity in the details. The Roman Martyrology celebrates his martyrdom in Ethiopia, killed by the sword, and the Catholic Encyclopedia confirms this. His supposed relics are said to have been taken to Salerno by St. Helena in the 4th century and rediscovered in the 10th century. Historically, it is likely that he died as a martyr, but we know this only through oral tradition and hagiographic writings. The consolidated tradition considers him a martyr, possibly in Ethiopia, killed by a pagan ruler while celebrating Mass. Before we continue to the next chapter, subscribe to the channel and leave your like on the video. It helps us a lot. Chapter 9. The Apostle James the Less is the son of Alphaeus, and possibly a cousin of Jesus, brothers of the Lord. The nickname Less may suggest a difference in stature or age. Little is narrated about him except for his inclusion in the lists of the 12. Tradition associates James the Less with James the Just, leader of the church in Jerusalem and author of the Epistle of James. He led the Christian community in Jerusalem for about 30 years. His death is attested by both Jewish Christian and non-Christian sources. Flavius Josephus, writing at the end of the 1st century, reports that James, called the brother of Jesus, was executed in Jerusalem at the instigation of the high priest Ananus in 62 AD. According to Josephus, he was stoned to death, accused of violating the law while the Roman procurator was absent. Another tradition, Hegesippus, 2nd century, describes that he was taken to the pinnacle of the temple, refused to deny Jesus, was pushed off, and survived the fall. Standing, he prayed for his killers, but was then stoned until someone struck his head with a club. The scene demonstrates forgiveness and holiness. Some later versions mention being sawn apart, but the common tradition is martyrdom by violence in Jerusalem. His feast is celebrated on May 3rd. His relics are said to be in Rome and Jerusalem. His execution in 62 AD is widely accepted. He represents the bridge between Judaism and Christian faith, having given his life in Jerusalem proclaiming Jesus. Chapter 10. The Apostle Jude. Thaddeus, magnanimous heart, is mentioned in the Gospels as Jude, not Iscariot. He may have been a cousin of Jesus, being the brother of James the Less. At the Last Supper, he questioned Jesus about his manifestation to the world, highlighting love and revelation to those who keep his word. After Pentecost, he preached in Judea, Galilee, and, according to Eusebius, in Mesopotamia. Syrian and Armenian traditions say he traveled extensively, preaching in Edessa, Syria, Mesopotamia, and finally Persia, modern-day Iran. There, he joined Simon the Zealot to evangelize the Persian Empire. Jude Thaddeus was martyred in Sufyan, Persia, together with Simon. One version says he was beaten and struck with an axe after being stoned by a mob instigated by Zoroastrian priests. Because of this, he is often depicted with an axe or club. His liturgical date is October 28th, around 70 AD. The convergence of ancient testimonies suggests that he died a martyr in Persia. Details such as the number of blows or final words are late additions, but the core message remains: martyrdom due to religious intolerance. In Rome, his relics are venerated in St. Peter's Basilica. He became known as the patron of difficult causes, symbolizing faith even in the most extreme situations. Chapter 11. The Apostle Simon the Zealot, also called the Canaanite, was fervent in the Jewish faith before following Jesus. His title suggests a possible connection to the Zealot movement, but upon following Christ, he began to pursue the divine kingdom. He appears little in the Gospels beyond the list of the 12. After the Ascension, he carried out missions in various regions: Egypt with Mark, North Africa, Syria, and even Britain, although this last one is less reliable. Traditionally, he traveled to Mesopotamia, reunited with Jude Thaddeus in Persia, and evangelized alongside him. He also ministered in Armenia. His death is described in various versions. The chronicler Hegesippus, 2nd century, claims he died around 107 AD, possibly in Palestine, accused of belonging to the Davidic lineage. As for the method of execution, he was crucified, burned, or tortured in Armenia. The most well-known Western tradition says he was sawn in half alive. Hence, he is often depicted holding a saw. Meanwhile, the Eastern tradition holds that he was killed alongside Jude Thaddeus by stoning in Persia. Despite the differences, there is a consensus that he died as a martyr. His feast day is celebrated on October 28th, together with Jude. In this chapter, we presented the different traditions: the saw in the West, the stoning in the East. What matters most is that he gave his life for Christ as a martyr. Chapter 12. The Apostle Matthias was chosen to replace Judas Iscariot after his betrayal and death. He had been a disciple from the beginning, from the baptism of Jesus to the Ascension, witnessing the resurrection. His name means gift of God. He was chosen by casting lots. After Pentecost, he preached in Judea and later carried out missions in regions such as Cappadocia and the coast of the Caspian Sea. The Ethiopian Church and apocryphal writings claim he also went to Ethiopia, possibly Colchis, present-day Georgia. Thus he preached to non-Greek-speaking Gentiles. His death was violent. Some traditions say he was stoned in Jerusalem and then beheaded with an axe. Others place his martyrdom in Colchis, also by stoning and beheading. These accounts come from apocryphal writings, the martyrdom of Matthias. He is often depicted holding an axe or halberd, instruments of his martyrdom. There are no direct historical records. Even Eusebius comments that little is known. Tradition holds that Matthias died for Christ and that St. Helena transferred his bones to the West in the 4th century. Today, relics are said to rest in Trier, Germany, and in the Basilica of St. Mary Major in Rome. Therefore, it is highly likely that he was martyred, although the details come from apocryphal sources. Even so, he is celebrated as an apostle and martyr, a living witness of the resurrection until the end. Conclusion. The life and death of the 12 apostles of Jesus form a vital chapter in the history of early Christianity. Each had a unique journey, combining biblical data from the Gospels and Acts with traditions from the Church Fathers and historical sources. We highlighted where tradition is well established: Peter in Rome, James the Greater in Jerusalem, Thomas in India, and where it relies on apocryphal or legendary sources: Bartholomew, Andrew, Simon, Matthias. Even with variations in the details, an aura of heroism and unshakable faith surrounds their memory. This story, presented with clarity and depth, shows how each apostle sealed their testimony of faith through blood or perseverance until death. May this narrative inspire and strengthen the statement, "The good apostles fought to the death." If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming videos. Leave your like and share it with someone who will also be inspired by this powerful story.